Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 141 for Tuesday the 25th of October 2022. I'm your host Mark Webb, gamertag PissNuddy, my D, Webby 360G, and joining me on this very fine evening is...
Why was it not called Xbox 2? It's Nick Votes.
And here again, it's Sensei Switch.
Hello, yes, so this episode is especially for the Patreons, our Xbox 360 special. Part 1. That is because there is so much to talk about on the Xbox 360 that we've had to split this special episode into 2 parts. So then part 2 of this will be recorded and uploaded in 2 weeks' time. So you can also add your favourite memories and favourite games from the Xbox 360 into the Discord forum. So head on over to Discord. There is a forum section there, episode 143, and add your favourite memories and games. Following on from our OG Xbox special. Woohoo! And to answer your question, Nick, the reason why it wasn't called the Xbox 2 is because having it numbered the Xbox 2 when the PS3 was going to come out would make the public think that the 2 was lesser than the 3.
Oh, that makes sense. So you don't want to have your console with a number lower than your rival console?
Yes.
Oh, that makes sense. You know, kudos to Xbox because they didn't do that and they will never do that in the future.
Yes. Yes, the Xbox One was a silly name, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, what was it? What were they were calling it? The what was it they were talking about? Like I can't remember some of the code names for it though.
Oh, I can't
remember.
remember.
Weird ones, didn't they?
Yeah, I can't remember them off by heart. I was going to Google it, but then I didn't. I remember the PS4 was called Project Orbis.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was Orbis. That's all I can remember. I can't remember what the Xbox was called. But I don't know. So should we start there? The name 360? Good name, bad name? I wouldn't name a podcast after
it.
Yeah, I think 360 because it was meant to encompass like the 360 degrees of gaming or something. I'm not sure. I think it was a good name anyway.
It's a good name because the console did well. If the console did terribly, it'd be a terrible name, more than likely.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand the name of like why they went with Xbox One for the Xbox One because it was supposed to be like your one-stop media device, wasn't it? But
yeah.
360 was kind of a weird one, but it worked.
Yeah, massively. It did massively. But I want to start by just going through some of our memories of the system, and I would like to start if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
So obviously in the last special we did about the OG Xbox, that's when I started to become a mega fan of Xbox. I was always a PlayStation fanboy before then. So I was super excited for the Xbox 360. And I remember the hassle of trying to get one. I don't know if you had this, trying to get one on launch day. So
I had a mate who worked at Virgin, so he basically had, like, if we wanted any, he'd just be like, I'll put it by for you.
Yeah. So back in the day, there used to be a website called play.com where we used to buy all our games from. It was actually quite good.
I used to buy everything off there.
Yeah, I used to buy everything off there as well. So I pre-ordered my Xbox 360 on there the day that it went on there. And a week before launch, they emailed me to say that they couldn't fulfill my pre-order. Right. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I need this machine on launch. Need it. So there was nowhere to pre-order one that late in the day. So my only option was to find somewhere that was doing a midnight launch. So obviously you got your games, and back then Game Station I think was still alive as well, but those were all pre-orders as well. So the only place you could get one without pre-ordering that was open all night was Tesco's. So I used to live in Peterborough, and there's a massive Tesco's there. So anyone who lives in the area will know the big Tesco's I'm on about. So
I've been there. I don't live there, but I've been there.
Yeah. So I mean, it's quite big. It's got other shops inside of it as well. So it's quite a big place. When I lived there was a game in there as well. But so I thought I'm going to go to Tesco's to get one, but I'm not going to go at midnight. I'm going to go at 2:00 in the afternoon and wait like a madman. So
did you not pre-order it? You were just hoping to get one, or
because you couldn't pre-order at Tesco's. So it's first come first served. Because obviously my pre-order had been cancelled through Play.com. My only other option was to get one when they hit the shelves, right?
Makes sense.
Hang on a second, wasn't Play.com like a huge importer of DVDs and stuff as well?
Yeah, it was huge, mate. It was bigger. It was bigger than Amazon and everything.
I remember the shop now. Yeah. I wonder why it rang a bell.
They even had a gaming event called Play.com Live before the EGXs took over.
What happened to them then?
They got bought out by someone, and they rebrand. I think it was called Rakuten or something like that. It got bought out and merged, and it's pretty much dead now, I think.
Yeah. So anyway, so after they let me down at Play.com, I never used them again. Bunch of wankers.
Nobody did.
No, but yeah. So I went to Tesco's at 2 PM, thinking I'm going to be first in the queue because obviously, Xbox had gotten quite popular in the UK, and it was the hot ticket. I think it came out before the PlayStation as well, so it was the first next gen system at the time. So I get there at 2 PM, and there's already someone else waiting. So I'm second in the queue. And then within the hour, there was like 10 people in, like, we're all forming a line. So after a little while of waiting, the manager of Tesco's comes out and he's like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, oh, well, we're waiting for the Xbox 360 to launch at midnight. And he was like, I can't be having this. I'm going to give you all these tickets, and you can come back at midnight and pick up an Xbox 360. But he said we've only got 5.
Oh,
yeah.
How many was in the queue at that point?
It was about 10, so I was second in the queue. So I got a ticket.
Giving it to someone behind you to make their Christmas?
No.
All right.
So I was well away. I was like, yeah, man, this is awesome. So I could get to go home and chill out. But the only other thing I was concerned about when I went back was when the Xbox 360 launched.
When they come out at midnight.
Well, no, I wasn't. Well, I was a little worried about getting mugged, but the only other thing I was worried about was what system would I get, because remember, unlike the original Xbox had a hard drive. Yeah, so the 360 launched with 2 versions, one with a hard drive and one without a hard drive. So if you didn't have a hard drive, you had to use a memory card, old school. And I really wanted the hard drive version. I think it was like a 20 gig hard drive.
Yeah, 20 gig, yeah.
Massive at the time. I just think how big games are now, double the size of that at least. So I was like, I hope I can get a bloody one with a hard drive. Anyway, I'm going to cut a long story short. Anyway, so it gets to midnight. I'll go back to Tesco's, and the 5 of us are waiting at the customer service desk. Like, yeah, we're going to get our Xbox. And the guy says, right, we've got the 3 Xboxes. They're all there, and they had 3 with the hard drive and 2 without the hard drive. So the first 3 of us got the hard drive version. So I was like, yes! And then the other 2 were stuck with the shitty version. Lol.
Did you see their face as well?
Yeah, they were not happy because they didn't even have any of the memory cards.
No.
Yeah, so those people were stuffed.
So
oh,
how do you even put a profile? Could you even put a profile on the system without a memory?
I don't think you could even save or do a profile at all.
I don't know, mate.
I'm pretty sure you need a memory card to do anything.
Wow. I mean, I had the hard drive, so I was happy. And yeah, so the games I got on launch was Condemned Criminal Origins.
Legendary.
Which was amazing. Call of Duty 2, which was also amazing. Cameo, The Elements of Power. Perfect Dark Zero. And Project Gotham Racing 3. And shortly after that, I did also pick up King Kong. So I feel like I got some of the best launch games there. Because one of the things that sold me on the Xbox 360 was playing the Call of Duty 2 demo in game, because I had the 360 pods with it on. I was like, oh my god, these graphics look amazing. Yeah, so that was definitely great, and obviously, the Project Gotham series is now dead, but thoroughly enjoyed Project Gotham Racing. And Condemned was actually one of those games, I don't know if any of you got them on your list or not, but it was one of those games that was kind of, I picked it up just on a whim, because I thought, oh, it looks good, I want to play it. And it was probably one of my favourite games on the 360, to be fair, because nothing's really been done like it since, apart from the sequel.
It's also pretty popular for having 970 gamer score instead of the 4,000.
Oh. Well, that
so
sucks.
Even if you 100% it, it's not a 4,000 G.
Wow. That sucks. Do you remember when the 360 come out, achievements were actually, because they weren't actually easy to get.
Well, some games like King Kong was, you just played.
Well, that's why I got King Kong, to be honest, because I remember, this is one of my fondest memories, because back in the day, people were in game chat a lot more, and you jump online, and people, as soon as you looked at someone's profile, their gamer score was front, right, and center. And I just have so many fond memories of going online and jumping in, and people would look at my profile and be like, Webby, how did you get 20,000 gamer score? That's amazing. And you think, like, you could easily pick up 20,000 a month now. You know what I mean? But back then, like, it took a lot of grinding to get like 20,000 gamer score. And there was just that sense of achievement. And when people be like, wow, you must be so good at games, man. And now they just don't mean anything. Yeah, those are definitely some of my fondest memories. But just the act of getting the Xbox 360, it was just a mission in itself. And then I remember the following day, like, helping my mate Dave and my other mate Bob trying to get Xbox 360s as well, and driving them around to all these different places just to try and get one. It was hilarious, man. It really, really was. But yeah.
Did you have any luck picking them up for them, or?
Yes, we managed to get, the other two guys managed to get consoles as well, but they were the arcade versions. But obviously, when the hard drives got in stock a little while later, they managed to pick up the hard drives. So yeah, it was just another time.
The hard drives onto the arcades. Then it wasn't.
You just slap them on the side. Yeah,
but if you remember the I can't remember. I think it was called the Core and the Pro. I want to say, I can't remember. I think what the cheap one, or the arcade and the Core. But anyway, but the one with the hard drive, you actually got the Chrome disc tray. But the one without it, you got a plain white one.
That's
so you'd always know if that's not right. You're like, still the crap one, mate.
Do you remember also the face plates?
Yeah.
The face plates were so cool, man. That was like, the customization on that machine. But little fun fact for those people who might not have had a 360 or got one later in the life cycle, was that the original launch 360 didn't have a HDMI port, because HDMI on TVs wasn't a thing back when it launched. So so you still use the old. It had like a big socket in the back, which was a SCART for a SCART lead for a TV.
Was it a bastardized SCART lead classic?
Yeah. So you ever had the SCART?
The VGA into a SCART adapter.
Yeah, that's it. You had the yellow, white, and red connectors and put them into a SCART block. Yeah. That's how old it is. And then obviously in later iterations of the 360, they added the HDMI port so you could play in 720p.
I think the first one I had with the HDMI port was the Elite.
Yeah.
When the Elite came out, the black Elite, not the remodeled Elite later on.
How many versions of the 360 did you end up buying? Because I ended up buying about 4 or 5 different Xbox 360s over the years.
Well. The first one, the Elite, the same as Switch, and then the one I've got now, which is like the 250 gig slim, whatever they did. Because just,
the sort of one that's black, but it kind of goes in on itself a little bit.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, the one that sounds like that when you turn it on. Oh, it's not that loud. Open it.
Does a beep. Little beep.
There we go.
That's it, yeah.
And do you remember the special edition ones that you could get? Because I had a Halo 3 one, and you press the eject button and it would make the Halo noise.
Oh, I wanted the Call of Duty one, the grey one.
Nice. I know Peeps has a Star...
Lancer chainsaw one.
Oh, nice. I know Peeps had a Star Wars one. And they did the Star Wars.
Was that the R2D2 console?
Yeah,
and then they had the gold C3PO controller.
I remember he was well happy with that, wasn't he? He was well chuffed when he got that.
Yeah, now he sold it. I think he's got rid of it. Yeah, it's a shame because that would be a proper collector's item as well, isn't it?
I suppose if it's gone to someone who's going to look after it.
Yeah, I hope so. But
do you want to do your story, Switch, of how you got yours? If Webby's finished then how he bought his, or is he not finished?
No, I'm done. I just wanted to add a few of those tidbits for, the HDMI thing I think is quite important just for people to realise how old, the system, like when the system came out, it actually launched in the UK on the 2nd of December 2005. It makes me feel so old.
I still remember.
I think it had, because with mine, it had all the ports, so it had the component cables as well as the composite cables. So it had like the green, the reds, as well as that. But obviously, not many people had 4K tellies or even tellies with component anyway, did they?
Yeah.
No, even HD was kind of rare at the time.
Yeah,
because they had a big thing of like Samsung brought out like a series of TVs, didn't they? They brought out like limited edition sort of almost like white sort of TVs that were sort of like in tandem with the Xbox.
Yeah,
720p or something. My brother had one of those.
I remember getting a Samsung, or was it an LG? I had an LG, and it was a HD ready TV, and that was the biggest mistake ever because it. Like, the picture was shit. Absolutely shocking on it. Yeah.
So, Switch. I like that, though, because... Yeah, sorry, I'll get to that. But I didn't actually have the HD with my Xbox until maybe 6 months after I had it.
Oh, okay.
So it was really cool, because obviously I liked it, and the graphics and everything were amazing at the time, I thought.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, having someone be like, oh, if you connect it to this, it's going to make everything you've ever played look even better. And then that's it. Once you sort of turn from HD to, like, that's it. It's hard to go back. Because I remember at the time, my friend used to pop round and we'd, like, have a load of drinks and stuff, whatever. And he'd bring his Wii round.
Oh, nice.
And he used to hook his Wii up to my downstairs telly, and I used to be like,
yeah.
Like, it used to look like someone's like smudged Vaseline or something over the screen.
That's funny.
Because it obviously wasn't HD at all, was it? In fact, Nintendo didn't go HD until the Wii U, I believe.
Yeah, the Wii U, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about like weird naming conventions. That kind of fucked them up, didn't it? The Wii U.
Yeah. I still like that system, but yeah, it was. I mean, just as a time, Darren and Nick, like as a time period when the 360 come out and to when it ended, there was such a, I feel, a massive leap in TV technology during that time as well, because we'd gone from standard def all the way up to 1080p in the space of, a generation. Because I remember, as I say,
it
like
was a long generation though.
Yeah, because
when
we went from because we went from standard definition, to 720p. Do you remember? And then it went to 1080p or 1080i. Do you remember that debate?
1080 interlaced.
Yeah. And people were like, oh, 1080p looks a lot better than 1080i. And I remember all those arguments back then as well.
Some of the original Xbox games, you did have 720i, like on maybe 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
But obviously no one had the TVs to really do it.
Yeah.
Because they were still quite rare, especially, what was it, 2002, the original Xbox came out? I think it was around 2003, 2004. There was some games. I can't remember which ones were but
yeah, I think you're about right on the money there, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a driving game. I'm not saying it was a driving game. Probably, I think it might have been Project Gotham 2, maybe something like that.
Okay.
But we didn't know what P's were back then.
No idea. But,
I remember me and my friend at work were working the night that obviously Xbox launched, and our friend who works at Virgin had apparently rung him up earlier before and said, do you want an Xbox? Because if you want one, I'll stick one aside for you. And my mate was like, yeah, I'll get it. And he got it with 3 games.
Nice.
And after work, he drove down and dropped it off.
What?
And we were all just so like me and my friend was sat in there working. We worked in security, so we basically he bought his telly in and everything. And
wow, that's
my mate
so cool.
turned up just about 12:30 at night, and he was like, "Get it out for the lads," and he'd come in and popped it on the date table, and we were setting it up and all that excited, literally thinking oh, this is mad at work, and we've just obviously had to deliver the new system and everything, and we sort of sat there mucking around, went through the operating system, the fabled blades,
stuff,
and he was choosing his name and all that kind of stuff originally, which he then changed for Xbox Live. For when that sort of came out. But yeah, he got Project Gotham Racing, Perfect Dark Zero, and Call of Duty 2.
Yeah, nice.
So I was sat there. He put on Perfect Dark straight away because at the time we were massive fans of GoldenEye and Perfect Dark on the 64.
Yeah.
And I thought it looked decent, but I wasn't blown away. Then he stuck on Project Gotham, and I was like, it looks decent. But it didn't blow me away because I imagine that was the kind of game that would have benefited greatly from being on HD.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a massive racing fan at the time, because it was like an arcade racer, and I was sort of a bit more sim racing by that point because of things like Forza Motorsport, etc. And then he stuck on Call of Duty, which had at the time absolutely amazing smoke effects.
Yeah.
And that initial part where you're doing the training with the Russian officer and stuff, and then you go off and you defend this position against a German charge through the smoke, blew me away. I was just like, this is the game. This is the one thing that made me excited to actually pick it up. But I still waited to pick it up because there was kind of a spatter of releases, we'll say, early on. But I didn't pick mine up until Dead or Alive 4.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, oh, there's Dead or Alive coming out. Because I used to do the old thing that probably most of us used to do, buy the magazines and then sit there for days and weeks just staring at them.
Yeah,
at work, flicking through, looking at screenshots and being like, oh no. Because we didn't We didn't even have things like YouTube to watch videos. We didn't really have things where you could go and you could download trailers for stuff to watch from E3, etc. But you'd have to go on a website and download like a dodgy, small condensed version of these trailers to watch them. In fact, I used to sort of like put loads of them, burn them to disc, and take them around friends' houses so we could watch trailers for game stuff. But yeah, so that was sort of like the story of how I got it. And then I think it was a little bit later I picked up Condemned and Fight Night, the Fight Night that initially came out on the 360. Was it round 4 at that point, or round 3? I'm not
round
too sure.
3 was the first one on 360.
The
one with all the faces that like slow mo, like getting punched and all melting.
Yeah,
which was brilliant.
But yeah, out of all of the sort of games there, and Graw, I had to pick up Graw as well. I think that was a March release as well.
Yeah, because
sometime around that point.
I'm just not sure the release date on that. Yeah.
Because I remember sort of like really, but the game that I used to play constantly when I was on my own, because I mainly used to play a lot of the games online with other people, was probably Condemned, and that's when I got really sucked into that game. And I still think that is a very underrated horror game.
Oh yeah,
it was
I think
like
so.
really, really atmospheric. There's nothing else quite like it. It had kind of like a Dexter-ish storyline where you were hunting a serial killer of serial killers, and he used to kill his victims in the way they used to torture their own.
Yeah.
And it went all supernatural and really weird, and had like this visceral first-person melee combat kind of thing.
Yeah, I just remember the pipes, smashing people in the face with pipes.
And yeah, it gets very disturbing. I'm kind of surprised it died off. I know they sort of jumped the shark with the second game because a different company sort of took it over, didn't they? Was it Warner Brothers?
Yeah, I think so. Sounds right.
But yeah, I just remember it being really sinister. You'd go around all these really horrible places you wouldn't want to look, and you'd have your phone out with your UV light and stuff, looking for like blood trails, and had all this detective stuff.
It was a great game,
with it.
man. It really was.
And it was like, were you actually going crazy yourself?
Yeah.
Like, as the main character and everything.
So Graw Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter come out March the 10th, 2006. Yeah, so you're right. Yeah. And
we'll get to that later on when we start talking about the online stuff.
This is so good. Yeah. To listen to the rest of this week's awesome episode, you need to subscribe to the Patreon from as little as £5 a month. You get access to all of this week's show, which is over 2.5 hours long. And remember, this is only part 1 of the Xbox 360 special, which was arguably the best generation ever. And so also, if you subscribe, you get access to all the Patreon exclusive episodes. We did an Xbox OG episode a couple of weeks ago, which you will have access to. Loads of episodes coming, going through all the 360 generation, the Xbox generation, and Nintendo, the PlayStation, Sega, all of that. Specials exclusive for the Patreons. So sign up now. Head on over to patreon.com/360gamercast and sign up to your favourite podcast now.